Good morning, garden friends. It is Saturday. I think the date is June 20th. It's very early in the morning. It's about 6:30. Came up to the garden to give it a good drink before we could possibly hit 90 today. It's been hot. I went out earlier in the week and bought 150 feet worth of hosing so that I could water without having to use the watering can, which took way too long. So the garden got a good drink long about Tuesday and again today because, like I said, we've been hot and there's no sign of rain on the horizon. Possible thunderstorms later in the week, but not anytime soon. So the theme of the garden this week is babies, because I'm going to be showing you several different babies that have developed. It's been close to 2 weeks since I last filmed. I did take a video on Monday, but it was rambly and I didn't like it, so I didn't post it. But I'll show you what we've got going on today. First thing I noticed was right here in the pepper aisle. We have baby cayennes, which I don't even know where they came from. They seem to have happened overnight, so that's exciting. I want to show you this pepper down here. This is a black Czech pepper. And it has the most beautiful purple blooms. That would be right at home in any ornamental garden. It's just beautiful. I cannot wait to see the peppers develop on those. The eggplants are loving the heat, so I'm hoping they will shoot up anytime now. These are sweet peppers down here. They're branching out good, but no babies on them yet. This aisle is squash that is languishing. I had some plants in 6-packs that needed homes. I couldn't give them away, so I put them in the ground, and they're pouting, as squash are wont to do when you put them in the ground. Next year, you will hear me say it over and over again, but I'll be starting from seed. We've got some cukes here. They were also transplanted, but they have rebounded well. They were looking pretty bad, but I'm happy with how they're looking now. This whole aisle of tomatoes, I had to go through this week and tie many of them up. Oh look, I'm just noticing we've got a baby Juliet. Yay. So I tied some of them up. You can see here the cilantro is bolting, and I'm letting it. It'll go to seed and reseed itself and probably come up in the fall when temperatures get cooler. I'm trying a new thing this year. Anyone who grows tomato and makes salsa knows that when the tomatoes are ready, the cilantro is not for salsa. So last year I made my salsa without the cilantro and figured, oh, we'll just add it in when we open the jars, which of course never happened. So many people suggest freezing cilantro with olive oil, but olive oil is not recommended for canning. So I am freezing my cilantro this year in lime juice, which is the acidifier that I use for my salsa recipe. I don't see why you couldn't do it with lemon juice or vinegar if that's what you use to acidify your salsa. But we're going to try that and see how it goes. These beans came up really well. I've got good germination on these. And here's the other aisle of tomatoes. Pardon the sirens, I don't know what's going on. The lettuce is doing great. I have to pick lettuce every day in order to keep up with it. We have been kept in lettuce. My parents got some, and I'm trading vegetables for eggs. So that is where all of the lettuce is going. You can see these tomatoes are doing well. Most of them, I'm gonna go so far as to say like 99% of them have blossoms on them. Over here we have another row of orphaned squash and zucchini that I just stuck in the ground to get them a fair chance. And then I just realized this morning that this area right here and this area right here don't have anything in it. So I'm gonna have to go home and check my seeds and figure out what to put in there, because I do not want any empty garden space. Oh, and I forgot to show you. Let me go back here. I'm gonna show you the dill. This came up on its own. It volunteered last year. And on one of them, I don't know if you can see, right here, that's a little black caterpillar with a white stripe. And those are black swallowtail caterpillars. They will show up on anything in the carrot family. So cilantro, dill, parsley, fennel, celery, if you're growing that. And they are, they turn into beautiful black butterflies with some blue on them. So please, if you see them, don't squash them. I had a friend admit to me last year that she was killing them because she thought they were bad and they were eating all of her plants, which they do. So if you have a problem with that, what I would suggest is planting a plant or two, and then moving the caterpillars to that plant so that you sacrifice that plant, but they still get to a fair chance at turning into their beautiful butterflies. All right, more tomatoes here. We have more babies in this aisle. This is the gray zini. So that's going to be a good producer. That one's loaded. This Cocozelle has lots of blossoms, but I don't see any babies yet. And, oh, I forgot to show you, I did have some baby cukes, so that's exciting. These cukes and a volunteer pepper here. Again, more lettuce doing great. The kale here is doing fabulous. And I've been harvesting these radishes. You can see they're good size, which makes me happy. This is the first batch of radishes I've been able to harvest. The first two that I planted didn't do anything. One I planted really early and it never grew radishes, it just bolted. Here is calendula getting ready to bloom, which thrills me to no end. This is one of my favorite garden flowers. I use it for making salves. And more kale, you can see it's really coming into its own. We had kale chips last weekend. We've got more for this weekend. I did come through and weed this bed, so it's looking a lot better than it did on the last garden tour. And then we have a baby Better Boy. I haven't looked real close at these tomatoes. There's probably more babies, but I need to come through sometime this week and tie up the rest of them. I'm using these, I think they're Velcro brand. I'm reusing them from last year. They worked well last year. I do have some twine if I need it, but for now, that's working real well. I harvested the garlic scapes and dehydrated them, and I roasted some of them, and they were delicious. For those of you who don't know what garlic scapes are, let me go down here and show you, because I think there's a curly one right here. Garlic scapes happen with hardneck garlic, and they are these little curlicues. They start out like this, and then the older they get, they straighten out. And many people believe that harvesting them results in bigger bulbs. There are studies that question that, but because they are so delicious, I do try to harvest most of mine. I obviously miss some of them. Here's another one. But to roast them, basically you're just going to cut them off right here. Throw them in the oven with some olive oil and salt and pepper. I added some Parmesan cheese to mine. 375 for like 20 minutes was perfect. If you don't like garlic, you will not like roasted garlic scapes. Now see, this calendula was planted literally months before the stuff I just showed you that was flowering already, and this is not even close to flowering. So these peppers I'm happy about. They are doing really well. They were late getting in because they were languishing as seedlings, but they're popping back real nice. More kale, radishes. These are the radishes that just didn't do anything and they're bolting, so I need to pull those out and pop something else in there. More peppers that are doing better. These peas planted really early. These are the first fruits. I've got peas that I planted again months later that are already producing. So this bed was planted on March 18th, which goes to show is too early. So don't fall for it. This was an experiment, and now I know that you can plant stuff and it won't die, but it won't thrive either. Again, this lettuce is just getting ready to be harvested. It was planted on the 18th with everything else. I've got lettuce that was planted way later than that is now producing. There's some runaway lettuce in the walkway. Maybe I'll try to transplant that. The potatoes are doing really well. Knock on wood, we haven't had a huge issue with bugs. I did find one, I don't know if it was a cucumber beetle or a potato beetle, but it was on one of my plants and it was laying eggs, so it quickly got squashed and the eggs got destroyed. But I haven't seen anything else. As you can see, they're little chew marks, but nothing major. Last year at this time, they were getting really destroyed. So I'm hoping that we have potatoes in another month or so. The flowers are gonna come in real soon. We've got mums and black-eyed Susans and daisies. Some Artemisia I just transplanted. We had a plant swap with the garden club. The yarrow is beautiful. Originally I was going to put this in the herb garden, but now I'm thinking it's going to go in the maroon and gold garden because it's just such a lovely shade. These plants have just gotten so much bigger. I know that right here there are 3 Kashaw squash. I have no idea what those 2 are. The labels that are in the ground were the labels for the original plants that died, and I replaced them with these, and I don't know what they are. We'll find out once they start blossoming. And these potatoes are also doing well. Now, these potatoes were planted several weeks after those, and they've pretty much caught up. As you can see, they're flowering just like the others. These were planted after that cold frost we had, so those went back to the ground when that came through, and that's probably why these have been able to catch up. I'm still trying to decide. I've got these 2 rows here of compost where I'm building rows for next year. I may come through and plant more potatoes here. I do have more baby potatoes, and it would be a good experiment. I would do it the same way as I did this bed and just put the potatoes down and then cover them with leaves and see what happens. So I think that's it for the big garden. I'll come back later this week and show you what's going on in the horseshoe pit garden and the herb garden. I got some more additions there. But, oh, look at this. Look at that. I believe this is a Costoluto. Nope, it's an Abe Lincoln. I have baby Abe Lincolns. Nice. All right, folks, with that, I will leave you till the next time. Who knows when it will be, but I'm sure there will be lots of developments. This is an exciting time of year for the garden. Talk to you later.